Hi everyone. In this video, we'll talk about where we are in the moon cycle. We'll talk about the upcoming Chinese New Year on February 17th, which relates to the moon cycle, and what the energy is going to be like between now and then. And also talk a little bit about New Year's placements in general and how that relates to the Yin-Yang cycle of the year. So I'm filming out in the yard today because it's just so much nicer, even though the audio quality isn't super fantastico. So apologies for the background noise. Thanks for hanging with me. So Monday, February 9th is the third quarter moon. And this is 9 days before the new moon on February 17th, which will be the second new moon of this calendar year, and also the second new moon since the December 21st winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, which makes it the Chinese New Year. When the moon's in the third quarter, it is half illuminated and it's decreasing. And the moon is coming up around 12 midnight and then setting somewhere around 12 noon the next day, give or take an hour. And then it's coming up about 45 minutes or so later each night after that. So the nights are getting darker and darker because the moon is less and less present in the night sky. Most of us go to sleep before 12 midnight, so for the next week most of us won't see the moon at all in the night sky, which makes it a really great time for stargazing actually, because if you go out around 9 or 10 at night, the sky will be completely dark with no moonlight and the stars will appear brighter. The third quarter moon to the new moon, this is the letting go phase of the moon. It's like autumn, it's like the fall. The moon is declining and we're asked to let go, to shed like the trees drop their leaves in the fall, because we're preparing for the death, the complete letting go, the dark of the moon before the moon starts to come back again. And at the same time that we're in this shedding phase of the moon cycle, we're in the very, very last week, 9 days, of the Chinese year of the wood snake. The wood snake theme for the whole year has been shedding. So the moon cycle, being in this ending shedding phase, is overlapping the ending right now of the Chinese year of the wood snake. So it's very supportive for letting go in these final days. There's like a double letting go energy happening. So you might have noticed that Chinese New Year doesn't fall on the same day of the calendar year because it is dictated by the moon cycle. As I was saying, it's the second new moon after the winter solstice. And most ancient calendars, like the Chinese calendar, followed the moon cycle. The moon has always been, in recorded history at least, the way that humans naturally tracked their time. Even our Gregorian calendar that we follow now has its roots in the Roman calendar, which was a lunar calendar. Of course, the Chinese, like most everyone in the world, they follow the Gregorian calendar for commerce and finance and business and technology, but they still celebrate their lunar holidays. And it's not just the Chinese who celebrate the Lunar New Year at this time. Many other Asian cultures and Middle Eastern cultures still observe the Lunar New Year. The Chinese mark the years by naming them with the name of an animal, one of a set of animals, and the name of one of 5 elements. So the year we're ending right now is the year of the wood snake, and the year we're going into on February 17th is the year of the fire horse. The next 9 days are the last days of the year of the wood snake and the last opportunity to shed the skin. This is sort of the metaphor that's been being used in this past year for the wood snake. It's a year of shedding. One of the themes of it is shedding. So here we are in this shedding time of the moon, in the year of the wood snake, and we have these final 9 days to complete the shedding process before we take off into the year of the fire horse. And when the fire horse year starts, it's expected to be quite different. Just the fact that we're going from wood to fire. We know wood is a lot more stable, a lot more grounded, and fire is a lot more changeable. It's faster. And then we're also going from a snake to a horse. So the snake is this wise reptile that crawls on its belly, touching the earth, right? It's very close to the earth and it slithers along the ground. Whereas horse has these long legs and it gallops. It's very fast. So you can imagine that we're going to feel a shift in energy from the wood snake to the fire horse. So this upcoming week between now and the new moon, now and the Chinese New Year, this whole shedding portal, this sort of death portal that we're going into, what practically is that saying to us? What opportunities are here? This is about letting go in all forms. I think we'll each have to feel into it for ourselves, but it could be in your external world or it could be in your internal world, right? It could be in your environment. It could be inside, in your choices, in your beliefs, in your actions, in your thoughts. So an example for the external world might be just looking at and considering your possessions. Do you have anything that is not useful to you anymore, that doesn't match where you are now, or that you haven't used in a long time? Or anything that you feel like you don't want to carry with you into the new, whatever that's going to be. And internally, you might have a sense of some things inside that are needing to be let go and released. But even if it's not clear to you, you can still be orienting yourself to surrendering, to letting go. You don't even have to understand it, really. I'm leaning into the fact that I don't have to understand it and I can still be releasing. So for example, one thing that I've been doing is just writing out or just saying to myself, I am willing to release everything that is past due and ready to go. You can do the classic, write it on a piece of paper and burn it in the fire. But really just setting an intention and doing any kind of practice. Just bringing your awareness to the fact that I am willing to release this week. And even inviting to be shown, looking for signs or indications of what to let go, even if it's just a symbol. I was thinking in my home, I want to definitely make sure to take out the trash, empty the garbage cans in my house before the Chinese New Year. Maybe I want to sweep my floors and clean up my doorways. The Chinese are really big on cleaning out your doorways for the new year. They often hire, I don't know what they are, shamans or people who work with energy to come on Chinese New Year, and they often will bless the doorway, and sometimes they'll light firecrackers to scare away the evil spirits and bring good luck for the new year. So cleaning out your doorways and really just simply cleaning your house, making a little bit more space. The premise here is like moving out what's old and no longer serving or sort of carrying us forward into what we're becoming, to make space. I heard a teacher that I follow recently talking about how right now, once we clean out the space, to let it be spacious, to not rush in to fill in the space, but to just let it be spacious and allow that as sort of a portal or a space for healing, and trusting that that space will organically and naturally fill in with what's right and good. And the intention I'm going with as I'm doing any of these practices is that I want to open up space for more of what feels good, right? More of what is joyful, more of what feels light. Yeah, there's a lot of problems in the world, there's a lot of problems in our lives, but it is so important. I mean, it's crucial to make space for joy and leave some empty space. Leave some empty space for joy to come in. I'm enjoying, and I enjoy every year, how we have these multiple opportunities to start anew, right? We have January 1, which is our Gregorian calendar New Year, and then there's the Chinese New Year, and then we also have the spring equinox, which I'll talk about more. What I notice for myself is at January 1, right after we've had Christmas, if you celebrate that, and if you've tried to celebrate solstice and squeeze that in, and now we're celebrating the new year and maybe trying to clean things out and set intentions and have a vision for the new year. And on top of that, in the northern hemisphere, we're in the dead of winter. The winter solstice is, in the northern hemisphere, the darkest night of the year. It's the day that marks the death of the sun. so that the sun is reborn. So just like we have a new moon, we have a new sun once a year, and that's the new sun in winter solstice. And that is a curious time. I'd say it's a challenging time for us to be tasked with, well, let me say it this way. It's not necessarily a natural time to be thinking about new things. When you're in the death portal, it's the time to conserve. It's the time to be still. It's the time to go inside. It's the time to ration your stores so you can get through the winter, so you can make it out the other side. It's not really time to turn over a new leaf or to start doing a bunch of new things. There's a little while yet before that energy starts to really come online. For me, Chinese New Year being in the second new moon after the winter solstice feels like a much more appropriate time to be calling in the new, to be preparing for the new. There's more light, there's more energy. We're perhaps being a little bit more resourced to be able to vision. Now we are more above ground. Our consciousnesses are getting a little bit more light, and we can start to feel what we might want to think about creating for the next cycle. If you wanted to set intentions for the new year on January 1 and you didn't quite get there, or you don't feel like you completed it, or if you did complete it, but if it felt kind of foggy and not quite right, or if you made some resolutions and now in February you've already dropped them, here's another chance. Here's another chance that might be a little bit more supported and fueled as you go into the Chinese New Year. So between this February 17th new moon and the spring equinox on March 21st, this is the completion of the yin dominant cycle of the year. So half of our solar year is dominated by yin energy and half of our solar year is dominated by yang energy. It's marked by the two equinoxes. So fall equinox starts the yin dominated portion of the year, and then we come to winter solstice, which is the highest yin, and then we come around to spring equinox, which is another half and half. So these are two half and half points at the equinoxes. And then the sun grows and grows now until the summer solstice, and then declines, but is still more yang than yin until the fall equinox. So we've been in this top half of the cycle that I'm drawing with my hands that is dominated by yin. So that's similar to the time between the third quarter moon and the first quarter moon. Third quarter moon, new moon, first quarter moon, these are all yin dominant. Basically what we're saying is the moon is less than half illuminated this whole time. So there's more dark of the moon than there is light of the moon. So we have, for the last 5 months, been going through the yin process of decline, death, and now we're coming into the rebirth stage. And between the Chinese New Year and March equinox, we'll finish that transition into spring. So the true rebirth, or like the dawn of the new, comes at springtime, right? So if winter solstice is equated to midnight in the cycle of a day, then spring equinox would be equivalent to the dawn of the day, when people start waking up. And the way that Chinese New Year is positioned, it's kind of like really, really early morning. Like if spring equinox was 6 a.m., the Chinese New Year would be around 4:30 or 5 a.m., right? It's like pre-dawn. So we've been slumbering in our winter energy, and now we're getting into pre-dawn. Pre-dawn, the light is about to break, and we're about to go into spring. And so I've enjoyed also using the spring equinox as another third opportunity to start the year anew. So if January 1st was a tough time to get it all together, to sort of make your new starts, then we've got Chinese New Year as another opportunity, and then we have a final opportunity at spring equinox on March 21st to get fully prepared to launch into the more outward, productive, active, growth-oriented portion of the annual creation cycle. All right, everyone. I hope that was helpful in some way. Best wishes to you in this potent shedding week coming up. We are out of deep winter. We're just past midwinter, going into early pre-spring, and I'm wishing you well.